All right, I think this might be our last video roasting SoFaygo because we finally got some answers from his manager, even though I don't know why he has to have a grown-ass man give us the answers as opposed to himself. Meanwhile, he just posts pictures of him eating lobster, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But again, I said this on Twitter. If I was his manager, I would smack the shit out of him because he's losing me hella bread, or at least leaving it on the table, because we could have made so much money, bruh. We could be sitting on the beach in Mexico for the rest of our lives if we just actually dropped a couple albums within the last few years that he was still relevant. Meanwhile, now nobody really cares. I mean, yeah, he's got a fan base who wants to hear his new music, but it's slowly dwindling and dwindling. I mean, look at his followers. Even his fan pages are posting it on their Twitters and Instagram saying like, look how many followers SoFaygo has lost in the last couple of years. It's like 150K since his peak. Meanwhile, we have artists like Netspend and Osama-san who literally just blew up like last year or the year before, and they lapped him in monthly listeners and in followers on all social media platforms. And SoFaygo is clearly more talented than most, if not all, of these rappers. So like, you could have made M's on M's on M's, and you're signed to Travis Scott. Like, I don't gotta tell y'all this, you already know. It's just stupid how he's conducted his career. But again, finally, we got some answers from his manager, in which basically it seems as though, like, I feel him. I feel Barry Hefner, because he's just like, yo, it's not even up to me at a certain point. He just doesn't want to do it, which is his own decision, and he's got every right to be a bum and drive a Nissan as opposed to a Lambo. You know, it's not for me, but hey, go for it. I hear them. Asian cars are super reliable, especially when you crash into something, like they crumble up and absorb all of the shock so that, you know, you're safe in the car. Again, not for me though. I'd just rather die if I crashed in a Lambo. Regardless, all of this started because essentially Travis Scott and Cactus Jack is rolling out Jack Boys 2, which a lot of people want SoFaygo to be on because they want him, Travis Scott that is, to finally co-sign his artist that he signed to his label, or at least like his association with, a few years ago, and they've never to this day collabed on anything. There's only like a handful, if not like one or two pictures of Travis Scott and SoFaygo in public. And so now they finally want SoFaygo to finally be blessed with something, at least like touch tips or something. I don't know, not actually, but like something public, just to show that y'all are still friends, or that SoFaygo still signed Cactus Jack. I know Travis Scott goes to sleep every night and is like, why the hell did I sign this kid? He's literally just making us look bad. I've got Sheck West, who, yeah, he just dropped a song recently, but he basically retired before this, although he had a #1 song, so, you know, can't knock him for that. But he signed this other artist, SoFaygo, who's supposed to be like the prodigy, and he's just watching Ken Carson, Cardi, Yeet, whatever, all lap him. He's like, damn, maybe I should have signed them or Yeet or somebody. That's why they say starting a record label is like the worst business idea that you could make, because it's so risky. And honestly, this is why I'm not a manager for artists, because as I've told y'all in many videos, you're putting your effort and all your eggs into a person that you cannot control. Artists are crazy, bro. Like, they're not logical. That's why they're creative, but you could put your heart and soul into their work, but they still might not even go to the studio. They might just be playing Roblox while you're performing at Coachella. God damn, I want to be his manager just for one day so I could smack the shit out of him. He need to get the belt. You know, as I was saying though, people want SoFaygo to finally be on Cactus Jack 2, and then Travis Scott was interviewed by Complex talking about his artists and his roster at Cactus Jack, trying to get some information about, again, the collab tape Jack Boys 2. And somehow SoFaygo was once again not mentioned. They asked, you're building a hell of a roster at Cactus Jack with artists like Don Toliver and Sheck West. What's it like watching those guys evolve? Travis Scott says, it's crazy. It's ill having a vision, seeing the vision and watching it grow. And it's crazy seeing how they inspire the next person. It's a beautiful thing. Well, inspiring the next person they failed at, I cannot lie. Another question they asked is, and you want to produce for them more, right? He says, yeah, for sure, and I have before. Shek's about to drop this year, and Dawn drops every other year, so we're getting those things going. So basically, yeah. No, SoFaygo's not dropping this year once again. Even though he previewed a few snippets a couple months ago, I told y'all, bro, he went broke. And then he's like, oh, let me preview some snippets real quick, so maybe we'll drop and make some money actually, so I can stop eating the leftover Chipotle bowls in the trash can that I found outside my crib. But all he mentioned was Shek and Dawn dropping, no SoFaygo, so we move. But still, people had hope for SoFaygo being on Jack Boys 2. And they were also looking forward to potentially seeing him at this Coachella performance by Travis Scott that was supposed to be something that people had never seen before. And you know what? Don Toliver and Sheck West actually showed up and performed with him. However, once again, SoFaygo nowhere to be seen. In fact, from unconfirmed sources, so take this with a grain of salt, it's probably just a troll, but like somebody said that they saw on his Discord that he was playing like Roblox or probably with his own wee because he ain't getting no bitches anymore if he not making any money, clearly. But whatever, we expected that. A couple days later, more songs from SoFaygo leaked. It's almost like when something bad happens or they don't fulfill a promise, more music just leaks because people lost hope. So they're just like, you know what? We want the music, just leak it. We don't even care at this point if SoFaygo does not officially release music, which his manager actually has that viewpoint as well. But here's where Barry Hefner steps into the ring defending SoFaygo. He pops on Twitter arguing with a bunch of fans, essentially crashing out if you ask me, although he did have some base takes, I can't lie, coming from a grown man, which we'll get into in a second. But the first thing that he had to state was responding to how SoFaygo was not at Coachella. He said, Faygo was actually there. Just because he's not there taking pictures or on stage doesn't mean shit. Everything ain't performative. So true, I feel him. Maybe SoFaygo just didn't want to post up pics. He don't care about the fame like that. He doesn't want to play this whole like social media game, which in my opinion, I agree with. I don't do that either. I just record videos. I don't want to do any like clip farming on stream or even leave my crib to do any work. It's a hard game to be a creator slash even famous rapper because you always have to look cool. So again, I get it. But he gave the SoFaygo fans like a little taste, and you know, they're like piranhas. So they start eating him alive with questions like, where is SoFaygo? Why isn't he actually doing anything and dropping music for us? We're here supporting him. Does he not see this? Like, what the fuck is wrong with him? And I get their point too. But Barry Hefner said, I agree with that, but shit, man, he goes about it how he does. He has a lot of music, as you can see. It keeps leaking. I think he's putting too much pressure on himself to be perfect and not just about having fun, in my opinion, and that's tough for artists on all levels, which gives us a little bit of perspective as to what SoFaygo is going through, which is kind of what we've been saying for the few years after Pink Hearts, or actually before too, where we were saying that it's been so long, and every time SoFaygo drops music or whatever, fans, and this goes for every artist too, fans get pissed off saying like, well, this isn't what we wanted. We wanted such and such snippet that you previewed like with your girlfriend on IG Live on March 12th at 4:58 p.m. I've been beating off to that for the last 4 months. What the fuck is wrong with you, SoFaygo? And so when you drop music, you're almost putting yourself up for scrutiny and criticism, which a lot of people just don't like, you know, especially when you're super famous, it's to an extreme level. And so when he comes back now, it's almost like it's been 6 years, so he has to make it perfect so that he doesn't get criticized to the same level, or he can just remove himself from the situation entirely and not drop the music and live a happy life without stress from fans. He can just ignore everything, which I feel him on that, you know. Ignorance is bliss. Barry Hefner continues, I admire y'all for loving him. Honestly, I think it's insane, but always amazing. All I'm saying is dissing and shitting on someone doesn't make it better. Also, not every artist wants fame in the same capacity. Some just want to release their art and not be famous and just make money. There you go. I don't think SoFaygo wants to be famous. That's probably why at this point he's cool with the leaks. He's releasing his music to people, which probably increases streams on his actually released music, and it keeps his name relevant, almost like Playboi Carti in a way. to a lesser degree, of course, but it keeps him out of the limelight and the criticism as to if he dropped an actually officially released work of art, album, song, whatever, because he could just say that it was a throwaway. Am I right? Like, oh, that's something that I recorded in like 2023, and you know, I was just playing GTA at the time. It was just a fun track. I didn't really like it, so I didn't release it. So he kind of gets the pass for every song, and if it's a banger, then it could blow up, kind of like Pissy Pamper or something. But if there's one thing that we could walk away with for an important update, is that he still might be on Jack Boys 2, because Vault of SoFaygo asked on Twitter in the replies, all right, Barry, let's get to business. Album before September, ? He says Jack Boys first, and then we go from there, which potentially confirms that SoFaygo might be featuring on Jack Boys, and then he'll worry about an album afterwards. I don't think he's going to be dropping this year, but probably to see like maybe the direction of his music, or if he even wants to continue making music after the opinions of fans from even the mainstream, I guess, when he gets put on the spotlight with Travis Scott and all the big artists like Don Toliver and Sheck West on Jack Boys 2. It's the same thing that happened with Don when he first featured on Astroworld. This could completely blow up SoFaygo, bringing him to a huge audience that had never seen him before. And so why plan for dropping any albums specifically when there's going to be a huge catalyst for your career where you don't know what the direction is going to be afterwards? So, but then again, he could just be talking and then SoFaygo actually pulls the feature and doesn't clear it again, like he's Cardi. Then fans start asking about all the leaks, because apparently there was like, I don't know, 60 plus, maybe 100, I don't even know. And a couple of times Barry just said, man, fuck that, just post them leaks on YouTube and SoundCloud and run them up. That's multiple years worth of music if you ask me. So what are y'all complaining for if you're getting the music? Essentially just being fed up with SoFaygo, if you ask me. Like, he clearly knows something that we don't, obviously, because he has a relationship with SoFaygo where he knows he's not actually going to release music. And so the fans are complaining about not getting anything. And so he's like, yo, y'all hear the new music, so what's the big whoop? But from the fan perspective, I think more than just the music, they want to see like somebody they're a fan of actually prosper from the artwork. The fans want to almost live through SoFaygo or any artist and watch them succeed, because it's like a confirmation that like you were right, and that like the artwork that you like and represents you was so good, and that your taste is so good that it blew up to the mainstream. Does that make sense at all? But no, SoFaygo doesn't care. He's just eating lobster at a restaurant bar, which I feel like he's flexing to the fans, saying that he's eating lobster while everybody's worrying about his career. But I'm not gonna lie, these lobster tails look like they're on Ozempic. They don't look that thick. We need them BBL lobsters, my guy. That Larry the Lobster. Oh, that's why he said Larry down below, because Larry the Lobster. Yeah, I'm a dumbass, I don't give a shit. But there you have it, SoFaygo continuing to be a dumbass. Although, if he gets that Travis Scott feature or collab on Jack Boys 2, the trajectory of his career could easily change. He just needs some love. So many people are hating on him. I feel like people are just hating on him so that he actually drops, but maybe that's just not the way to do it. I personally don't get it. I don't think we should baby him into like, oh, it's okay, take your time. Because goddamn, it's been 5 years. How much time you need, bruh? Kids already done grown up and grown out of your music. Now they're listening to Beethoven. You missed out on your whole entire peak existence in this world. Rap careers only usually have like 3 to 5 year time spans, and your time is ticking, bro. So get to it. That's all I'm gonna say. I've been saying it for years. With all that being said, it's me, your boy Bob Lim, signing off. About to butter up some lobster for SoFaygo. Some juicy Violet Myers lobster tail though, split open in the middle. Squirt some lemon on that shit, you know? Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment and join the Discord server. I'm pretty active in there. I'll see y'all later. Peace.